What's going on here, dude? With Netflix, like they keep raising the rates. I know it's because they want to keep up all the original content and stuff, but I don't think they have anything super compelling. Like there's nothing on Netflix that I've ever said other than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that Bernie really wanted to see that I was just like super hyped for. I mean, Castlevania aside, like I think I'm gonna buy Castlevania. As soon as they come out with a 4K version of Castlevania, I'm all over it, right? But other than that, like I don't watch Netflix. So that's, I mean, I could save that $20. I could maybe get a YouTube premium subscription, which is I think what $10 or less, and I can save the 10-15 bucks and buy a couple movies a month and 2-3 movies a month and be good, or one major movie, and just go about it that way. And then I always have the movie, So it just I don't know. You're right, man. You have to think about these things, and Crunchyroll is just. I mean, if they're gonna do that, then what
Yeah,
incentive does anybody have to
back
buy?
to my stink about Sony.
Yeah,
Um, of course, it makes all the sense in the world with like a Gran Turismo 7, like charging you to pay uh, an online subscription to play a game because it's always online,
yeah,
even though it's mostly a single player experience unless you want to do the multiplayer thing.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. All right. So, what else? Anything else on your stinkos, Eric?
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple.
I mean, other
One.
than the obvious, the ongoing problems with Ukraine.
Well, yeah, that's like, I mean that shit hasn't stopped, has it? I mean, we could talk about that ad nauseum every week, but this my stream key got messed up right before the show, and I don't know
Yeah.
how that happened, but I got it fixed. Currently can hear. Okay, cool, Freak Five. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to reset everything, and but I'll do that after the show. But I had an interesting conversation with somebody about trans people in bathrooms. They were complaining about it, right? Oh, I don't want trans people, trans people going into girls' bathrooms. And I'm like,
Like,
I'm like, oh, hold on, Eric. I'm
why does
like,
your mind even go there?
hold on, Eric. I'm like, how would that affect you? And in which way would this affect you? I don't know. If a guy goes in there, I was like, first of all, it's not a guy going in there. I mean, they identify as women. So a woman goes in there. What do you think is gonna happen? Exactly.
You go
Like
to the
like
bathroom
honestly.
because that's what
Uh,
you do in a bathroom.
and then I said, these people identify as women. They don't identify as
And if you
men.
were worried
Hold,
about someone
Eric.
raping in the bathroom, how come you weren't worried about it before when it was a quote unquote actual woman?
Well, right, but here's what I was saying, Eric. Let me finish my point. Um, I was like, so first of all, that's a woman going in the bathroom, and you never have a problem with a woman, an adult woman going in with a child, a little girl going in the bathroom. There's never a worry there, right? So why should you be worried? These people identify as women, right? They're women. They might have the equipment downstairs, but they have no interest in little girls or young women or anything of that nature. Okay, first off, and second off, they're going into a bathroom to do what? To go to the bathroom. Do you think they're actually actively going around from bathroom to bathroom to look, for people to rape or diddle? It just doesn't happen.
Well,
You
one
can.
thing I could ask someone like that when they start saying like that, it was like, "What? Do you go in the bathrooms and rape other people or something
Yeah,
when you
and
don't
I
want other
said,
people doing it to you?"
that's another point I made, Eric. I was like, that's your mind going into places that really shouldn't be going, and I think you should um, probably think about this a little bit more. I mean, look, and then another thing to consider: women's bathrooms have stalls, right? So there's almost complete privacy when you're going to the bathroom in a woman's bathroom.
Unlike
So
men's who have to deal with
yeah,
funerals
in
most
the
of the
I
time.
know, and I never understood that, Eric. I hate it. I don't understand why there aren't like four different stalls in men's. I don't want. I mean, not that I care, but I mean, do you really want somebody staring at your junk, gay or otherwise? It does. I mean, it's not something that I would like, you know. And I know they got those little dividers, but you can still see somebody on the other side, right? It's like, why don't those things extend all the way up and give me complete privacy? You know, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I said, so the women's bathroom is completely private. They do their business, they wash their hands, and they get out. Like literally nothing is going on there.
So people, please educate yourselves on sexual dimorphism and all that stuff, because you'll learn very quickly that there's more than two genders out there, and there's more than two sexual orientations as well.
Right, and that's why I was like aghast when they were asking the new justice all those questions, like what defines a woman, and all these things that had literally nothing to do with law, right? None of that has anything to do with law.
I'm not just talking about like genitals. I'm talking like X and Y chromosomes.
No,
Some people
I
have
understand.
extra
Eric,
X pairs or extra Y pairs. Some people don't have either.
Eric, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying that's why I was like befuddled when the Republican senators were asking Johnny Brown all those questions about what defines a woman and all this stuff, because it's like it has nothing to do with the business at hand, right? I mean, you're right. They should educate themselves, man. But they won't, because they don't care to. They want to
I just wanted
discriminate.
to ask though, was he asking this because he wanted people to answer a certain way?
No. It was an offhanded comment, and I called him on it. I'm like, what? Why are you worried about trans people going into bathrooms?
No, I was talking about like the guy you were getting an example. Sorry.
Oh, you mean the senator?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a woman. It was Marsha Blackburn. She asked Kenaji Brown what defines a woman. Can you tell us what defines a woman? And she's like, she had a perfect answer. She said, like, I'm not a biologist or a scientist. That's not my expertise. Because they're trying to corner her to say one thing or another, so that way they could, like, you know, it's like a gotcha question. You know, and it just, she answered it perfectly. She's like, I'm not a biologist. I'm not here to discuss that topic. You know, if you want to know something about law, ask me. You know, she's more qualified than anybody on the bench currently. You know, also, I have another quick one, and speaking of justices, Clarence Thomas's wife is a piece of shit. I mean, I hate to say it, but she really is a piece of shit. No other way to put it. I mean, she was texting Mark Meadows. Did you see this story, Eric?
Not really. I mean, I saw bits and pieces, but I don't know.
Okay. She was texting Mark Meadows about the insurrection and how she wanted the election overturned and all this stuff to Mark Meadows, right? The chief of staff. And to boot, Clarence Thomas didn't recuse himself with the whole Trump thing.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, he was the only judge that voted against getting the National Archive documents from Mar-a-Lago, etc. He was the only one to dissent, and now we know why, because his wife was complicit with Mark Meadows in all that stuff. So I think he should be immediately impeached, and another justice should be put in his place, and then we can be back to a 5-4 fucking more liberal justice in the Supreme Court. Just really weird. But anyways, what else? Okay, let's move on to happier thoughts, Eric.
Dude, what does my tattoo say? Sweet!
Sweet of the week.
All right, Eric, what is your Sweeto of the week?
I don't really have any other than Kirby Day.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a good one, man. That's definitely a good one. All right, and then mine, real quickly, was just being on time for the show, and I thought I was going to be late, but...
Here's another stinko, Break not being here.
I know, that is a stinko. I hope everything's okay with Break. I'm gonna tweet him after to make sure everything's okay. I hope everything's okay with Break, because he normally...
I hope it's like an issue where you just got fucking tired or something.
Yeah, maybe passed out or something, yeah. Hopefully. Did you read... Yeah, I did read your stinko.
I can only...
Hold on, Eric.
I hate my brain for thinking this, but I wonder if something happened to his mom.
Oh God, don't jinx it, man. I hope not. Freak, I did read your stinko, man. I said, I'm really sorry for that, man. That really sucks. You've had a lot of heartbreak the past couple of years, Freak 5. I hope everything, hope the services are good, and just terrible news. I hate hearing news like that, Freak 5. But yes, I did read your stinko when we got to it. So, all right, let's move on to our newest segment. It's time to buy. All right, Eric, what franchise, either game or movie, or singular title should never be seen again, or at least for a long time?
The most recent example would probably have to be, I don't want to see a follow-up to Babylon's Fall.
Okay.
Or games like it.
All right. I kind of think that they should retire Predator in video games and in movies, because I don't think they've gotten anything right since Predators. And although Predators was good, it wasn't great, and I don't have a lot of faith in this new movie that's coming out. So I think Predator should be, and especially gaming wise, like they've never really gotten it great in games. They tried with that that multiplayer game, but I mean I haven't seen a singular.
Plus, he was sharing the screen time with Dan.
Yeah, I don't like it, man. I wish they would do a single game experience. Like a single, campaign. But it just
first person stealth game.
Yeah, maybe that would be cool. Playing as the Predator. It'd be
kind of like the opposite of Isolation, but you're the hunter.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool. Like you have to be super stealthy and track your prey and all that stuff. But Freak 5 says, since Break isn't here, I'm gonna say Halo for his franchises that are games that should die. I'll let him know next week. Freak 5, you said that. But I think Halo's got a little bit of life in it. At least there's some story in there, and stuff you can work with. I mean, it hasn't been stellar, but I mean, from everything Break is saying, I mean, this new game's pretty good. So, I think that's pretty cool. All right. Any other thoughts on that, Eric, before we hit the free-for-all this week?
No.
All right.
That's it. Sorry, I was yawning.
All right. Here we go.
It's a free-for-all. Little baby. Yeah, it's a free-for-all. Wow.
All right, we're going to talk about this. I'm going to play a video for you guys. It's basically about, and this comes from Inside Gaming, so make sure you check them out. It's about 9 minutes long, so we'll go ahead and listen to this, Eric, and then we'll talk about it right after. But this is about the Ori devs and Robin Hunik. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Like 3 other dev studios.
They're accused of workplace abuse. So let's go ahead and listen to Evan Campbell from Inside Gaming and hear what this is all about.
Beat.com reveals seemingly a number of years of toxic working conditions at Moon Studios, the developers behind the Ori games. And in addition, a video posted on the same day by People Make Games thoroughly investigates 3 other major indie developers, including Journey co-creator Robin Hunicke, for extreme and extended cases of emotional abuse, in which multiple employees and former employees shared testimonies of their experiences. This one's a lot, so let's get into it. Starting with Moon Studios, the article written by Dean Takahashi, titled, "Despite its beautiful Ori games, Moon Studios is called an oppressive place to work," is quite an extensive piece and includes a number of first-hand accounts that collectively say Moon Studios founders, Thomas Mahler and Gennady Korol, have created a very toxic working environment, a quick content warning for verbal abuse, vulgar comments around abortion, rape, and an inappropriate joke about genocide. Issues at Moon Studios included complaints of racist and graphic jokes that can be seen by the entire studio, group chats, harassment, hyper-negative criticisms on work without proper context, or constructive feedback to address issues, big fights between the co-founders Mahler and Coral, as well as last-minute changes that cause a large amount of development time to be completely wasted, in turn causing crunch and other issues. According to an employee testimony, Mahler would say, "Someone's work looked like," and sometimes the insults were much worse, like calling the developers failed abortions. The environment got so toxic that it led to high turnover at Moon Studios, but according to the employees, the founders didn't care. One employee mentioned they were hired to work on the second Ori game, Will of the Wisps, and they were excited to work with the talented team who made the first game, Ori and the Blind Forest, but they quickly realized a number of those developers had left the company. Specifically, they said, "Why did the art team leave? That was an alarm bell to me. The sound team didn't come back." I think Thomas and Gennady believe everyone is replaceable, which is not a great feeling when you go to work. Multiple employees who left Moon Studios say they were scarred with mental health problems and even considered changing industries entirely. Before VentureBeat published their story, they gave Mahler and Coral a chance to respond, and they actually did. In a joint response, they wrote, "We don't believe the experiences suggested by your questions are representative of the more than 80 Moon Studios team members who are thriving and doing great work every day, nor do we believe they are representative of the experiences of former members of our team." Then they go on to explain they've made people happy, advanced their careers, and created 2 award-winning games. They also point out that their studio has a flat structure where they facilitate an open platform for developers to speak directly and openly to each other. However, employees in the VentureBeat article point out that the open platform does more harm than good, since it's more readily being used as a platform for, quote, anti-woke culture, unquote, and an excuse to make inappropriate comments and jokes in the workplace. For example, according to one source in the piece, one day Mahler joked, "Tyler is the only person who is aware of my devious plans to kill the Jews by making them work to death through game development." It was clearly a joke, according to the employee in the report, but probably not one that should be made in the workplace, if at all. And multiple employees mentioned that this type of tone was pretty constant. One employee who spoke with VentureBeat tried to contextualize the studio's policies around having an open platform and the co-founders' fear of PC culture interfering with their creative process, saying, "They have a mentality where they think they're not politically correct. They don't want to be censored, they don't want to be corporate, they don't want to be like these other studios. But it's just a justification to behave in any way they want to. Other studios attempt to make a comfortable work environment for everyone involved." I will say there is one instance in the story in which the open platform might have helped Moon Studios make a better creative decision. In one case, Mahler wanted a character in an upcoming game to be raped. It took about a month to convince him this was a bad idea for a plot in a video game where the object was to revive the character with a motivation for revenge. In Mahler and Coral's statement to VentureBeat regarding the issues at their studio, they acknowledged that their behavior towards each other at times may have come off as insensitive and made others feel uncomfortable, but then again go on to highlight their achievements and the positive impact they've made on their employees' lives. Then they concluded by saying, "We are not perfect, but we deeply care about our talent and are constantly working hard to improve. If we have ever made anyone feel uncomfortable or let anyone down, we regret that, and we will always strive to do better." Another employee in the article suggested that incredible work is getting done by talented people at Moon Studios, but that work is being done in spite of Mahler and Coral's toxic management issues, not because of them. Now, I wish I could say that was all, but another similar story dropped on the same day in the form of a YouTube video by People Make Games. That channel is largely supported by their Patreon subscribers, so they are able.
Oh, a little bit of hold on a second here.
Ads?
Yeah, stupid ads. Hang tight, y'all. All right.
Specialize in investigative journalism. This particular video explores the issues with the distribution of power within the indie scene by reporting on 3 major indie developers accused of emotional abuse. The first 2 accounts in the video have been reported on or around in the past, but one surprising reveal were multiple people who came forward about game industry veteran Robin Hunicke. Hunicke has worked at EA, co-developed Journey, and founded the game studio Phenomena. Now, because it forms a larger narrative around a pattern of very successful indie dev auteurs, I'm going to quickly recap the People Make Games video. The first part is about Ken Wong, the founder and creative director of Mountains, who made Monument Valley and Florence. Employee accounts explain how Wong would tear people down, interrogating every aspect of their work without reason or alternatives. Things got so bad, the studio implemented a safe word policy in which employees could say the word pause to stop any one-on-one conversations with Wong, and then the studio's leadership would step in to mediate. Eventually, things fell apart completely in 2021, and the studio is still on hiatus. The second part of the video is about Steve Gaynor and the toxic culture formed by his leadership that basically ended Fulbright, the studio behind Gone Home, which was reported on by Polygon last year. And finally, the third part of the video, starting around 23 minutes in, is about Robin Hunicke. People Make Games spoke with a mix of 8 former and current employees who shared their own stories about emotional abuse they experienced while working with Robin. The common thread among them was that Robin used personal information about her employees at work in a way that was either humiliating or unprofessional. According to the testimonies, that sensitive information was also used to psychoanalyze or explain an employee's poor performance. This would include information about employees' sexuality, their dating lives, whether or not they were in therapy, or comments about their personal appearance. In one example, Robin commented during a meeting that an employee was, quote, struggling with their sexuality right now, so it makes sense that they are a little bit distracted, unquote. Now, while one example of someone talking out of turn or overstepping boundaries might not seem like the grounds for an entire investigative piece, the amount of people who are willing to come forward and their perspective forms a much bigger picture. During the development of the studio's second game, Wadum, Katamari creator Keita Takahashi was said to have made a barricade of chairs to prevent Hunicke from interacting with his team. One employee described the atmosphere at Phenomena during that time as tiptoeing around the house because your parents are hungover and alcoholics. Somebody is going to explode. When People Make Games reach out to Robin Hunicke and Phenomena's CTO for a chance to comment, they declined. However, afterwards, a group of employees reached out to People Make Games to say they were concerned that if the story was to come to light, that Phenomena would spin the occurrences as an older version of the studio that's grown and changed since the development of their last 2 games. That essentially, Robin Hunicke treats people better now. As a warning, the employees wrote, "We wanted to let you know that it is a current pattern of behavior and that Robin Hunicke continues to create a toxic environment." Once the People Make Games video went live, a number of other co-workers and colleagues came out with their own stories. One developer wrote, "If you've wondered why I've been miserable despite what should be a dream position, so much is covered here." At the 23 mark, referring to the People Make Games video, Robin Hunicke has been an absolute nightmare to work, quote, with, unquote, would be too generous as there's zero collaboration. She treats me like a house N-word, and you can see the expletive here has been self-censored. Now, others simply just quote tweeted the People Make Games video and vouched for its findings and testimonies. After about 3 days, Robin Hunicke finally tweeted in response saying, "Leadership is a journey, and often a difficult one. It saddens me to know people are hurting from mistakes I've made. I'm truly sorry. Right now, I'm taking time to talk to people, focus on the feedback everyone is sharing, and figure out next steps." So there it is. 4 separate successful game studios in the indie scene with reportedly very toxic working conditions created by their leadership. Obviously, it's not just an indie thing. We've heard similar types of stories come from AAA studios which have HR departments, but it does make you wonder about our kind of thing that we do in the industry where we kind of put auteurs up on a pedestal and they kind of just become this.
Okay, let's talk about this, Eric. I'm not going to finish the video. If you guys want to see the rest of it, make sure you check out Inside Gaming, and it's the Ori devs and Robin Hunicke accused of workplace abuse. Lots to unpack here, Eric. You there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I don't like the open structure of the first indie studio that he talked about, where everybody could just say what something and everybody else heard it. There's a reason why most.
That's why I hate Destructoid so much. It's like,
yeah.
I read a review that literally had someone finish the review by complaining that they much rather be playing the new Tomb Raider than the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon that came out at that time.
Yeah. Honestly, I think there's a reason why major companies have a what they call an open door policy. You go into a manager's room, it's private, that way you can air out your differences and everything's good to go. There was something really disturbing. I don't know if you caught it, Eric. You probably did, but she talked about Hunicke talked about someone's sexuality, how they couldn't. No wonder they were distracted because they were having a sexuality crisis or something of that nature. Why would you ever, and I mean ever,
it's probably not the reason anyway.
No. I'm just saying, why would you ever say that out in the open in front of people? It's like people never learn. Like some of the bigger AAA studios have been sued for less. A lot of times they get away with shit like that, but at least you have to understand, like, even like some of the bigger studios will at least come out with like half-assed apologies, which I give Haneke credit. She did come out and say that she's going to talk to people, and
No, that's not really happened.
I know, but I'm saying at least she fucking went out there. But
that's PR
Eric,
speak, though.
no, I understand, and she's taken a lead from. I was gonna say, she's taken a lead. She's taking a leak. A lead from. Might as well, right? From some of the AAA studios that come up with that mumbo jumbo jargon about we strive to get better and blah blah blah. And all I can think about is places like Ubisoft, which haven't done a fucking thing to better their workplaces, right? And it doesn't sound like these indie developers
Or they just tell you that they pretended. What are you talking about? There's nothing going on.
Right. It doesn't sound like any of these indie developers are much better than than even the AAA studios. It's like
I mean, we were. I think it was last year or maybe a year or two ago, 2 years ago. But I remember the development team behind Skullgirls. They had a walkout because their CEO was a piece of shit.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen this with singular, piece of crap developers like Phil Fish, like just lambasting the whole industry, and maybe some of those people actually had the right idea, but were misguided a little bit in their wording. I mean, what is the solution to this, Eric? Because do we just stop playing video games? Because if we do, I mean, if we stop playing video games for all the developers and publishers that abuse people, how many companies would be left? I mean, we got
I mean, this is probably why people still watch stuff and pay for stuff like Disney Plus, despite money going directly into the coffers of people who work against the LGBT, because they know that no matter what they do, they can't win, so they might as well enjoy what's on offer.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do as an individual.
I mean,
and you'd have to cut out a lot of stuff out of your life because there's just too many terrible people in this.
That's
making mistakes after mistakes after mistakes and not learning from them because we have poor education in this country.
Yeah, I mean, what is the solution? There really isn't a great, solution. I mean, and this is something I brought up a long time ago. I think it was with movies, right? Long time ago, we talked about Jeepers Creepers, the movie Jeepers Creepers, and how the director is like a piece of shit pedophile, right? Well, if I fucking stop watching all the movies that had people that were pieces of shit, like Alec Baldwin, how he treated his kids, or Tom Cruise and how he was a piece of shit Scientologist, and if I cut everything out of my life of every piece of shit, I mean, what would I be left to watch or play, Eric? Like I mean, it's something, unless it's like, I mean, I guess you just have to pick and choose your battles, right, Eric? I mean, if there's something that you feel really, really 100% against, then I don't know what the solution is, because to change your life so dramatically that you have to stop playing all of them, I mean,
shaming people for enjoying things despite the problematic content.
Right, and I get that all the time.
The people behind making them.
I've had people on Twitter chastise me for games that I'm playing or watching or movies that I'm watching, and I'm like, I understand, but I can't. How can I weed all that stuff out and still have fun? I don't know, man.
I'm probably never gonna enjoy Rurouni Kenshin again, knowing how I know what kind of person who made it is into.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all I can really say after that is, well, I hope they actually get help at some point.
Yeah. Freak says, I have tons of games I haven't beat. I could probably quit buying new games.
Like, you can be upset at something, but also enjoy the work that they're doing. Especially, it's even easier when that work has nothing to do with their worldview. Like, like I can't enjoy Harry Potter anymore because one, J.K. Rowling's too garbage of a person for me to want to give them money, and two, a lot of her worldview is injected into that story, and that's why it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah, you know what's weird is I bought a long time ago. I bought all of those movies digitally, and that's not gonna stop me from watching them. I'm still gonna
I
watch.
don't even know what to do with my book. I mean,
Yeah,
I got rid of the movies because I'm not even interested in the story as a story anymore. But
yeah.
now that I know how it's structured and the fact that ultimately nothing really of consequence came about due to Harry's battle with Voldemort, because the Wizarding World didn't get better; it still has problems,
Yeah.
and that sounded interesting to me. So I just threw it all
Well,
away.
I mean, that's almost any video game if you think about it. Do any of the Final Fantasy games bring about world peace forever? Like it doesn't happen. Like there's always sequels. There's always, I mean, if you just left everything as everything is fine. I mean, there's no room for doing anything more in that world. But I agree with you, Eric. Like, I mean, there's certain things that you can pick and choose. Freak Five says, I have tons of games I haven't beat. I could probably quit buying new games and still have enough games to play for the rest of my life. That's a great point, Freak Five. I mean, I agree with you. I'm the same way. Like, I have tons of digital games, tons of physical games that I could go back to. But I mean, there's always new stuff that I want to play. And I mean, I unless I find out that I mean, why should I have to punish everybody that worked on that game because the head of that game is a complete
Well,
piece
to
of
be
shit?
fair, most of those people already earn their paychecks. It's people at it's people at the bottom who suffer when somebody doesn't buy enough of something.
Yeah, that's
based on arbitrary standards set by the publisher.
yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, they get paid, but at what cost? I mean, crunch sucks. I mean, there was one developer that said, I think it was the Harry Potter developer game. I can't remember. Said that there will be no crunch, which I thought was a good step in the right direction for all video game companies. I mean, no
I
developers.
don't want to play it, especially after finding out the fact that the game's story is about fighting a goblin rebellion, and the goblins kidnap children, and there are comparisons being made to the goblins being a stand-in for Jews.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not gonna play that game anyways. But I
And
mean,
then there's the issues with the developer itself.
yeah. Well, I'm saying like that they're not doing at least that for what I mean. I mean, they could go back on their word. Several of them have. Like at least they're not gonna make their people do crunch. But still, I mean, who knows if they're gonna tell the truth? I mean, honestly. But I don't know. Just something to think about. And I mean, we talk about this topic before in different ways. Like what's the I mean, if we got rid of everything that there was a piece of shit that worked on it, I mean, think about all the movies that you would stop watching, all the video games you would stop playing, all the TV series you would stop watching, all the anime you would stop watching. Like, what was it? Blood the Last Vampire. Remember that movie way back in the day, Eric? Have you ever seen it?
Uh-huh.
At the time, it had the most cutting edge anime that you've ever seen. It was gorgeous. It still is. It holds up today, I think. But it was a shorter anime because there was trouble with people like being treated like animals pretty much. And I guess the schedule was so hectic and so soul crushing that a lot of people quit or I mean it was just terrible. But it's a brilliant movie, and I mean, you have to think about those things. Do you really want to support stuff like that or not? I mean, it's a weird conundrum, but all in the name of entertainment. But all right, well, I think that's all we got time for today. I know it was a quick show, Eric, but I'm kind of getting hungry, and I need to figure out what's going on with Breakman here. Hopefully everything's okay. We'll hope for the best, everybody, on that. Let's do our plugs and get out of here. Go ahead, Eric. Plug away.
All right. You can find reviews I've written on bostonbashbrigade.com, or if you want to listen to the audio feed, I got a couple audio reviews of games there. And if you like either of those things and you want to support me, go to my Patreon and send me as little as $1 if you feel like it. Or you can mention me to someone else who might be more willing to do that or able to do that. And that would help out. And the link to that Patreon is in my Twitter profile, which is at EricRPG.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Eric?
Stay safe.
Okay.
COVID isn't over, even though the governments of various countries want to convince you otherwise.
Yeah. I want to thank Freak5 for being in there, Slagar for being in there, Alien Gathering.
And put up with more expensive gas if it means that the resolution to the Ukraine crisis is going to happen more swiftly.
Yeah. Another TV viewer and Sofacal. Thank you all for being in the chat, even if you were just lurking. You can follow me on Twitter at Frank Branches. You can follow me on all the systems, RPGrinders. We are live every Friday, 7 Eastern time. So if you guys want to join us on twitch.tv/RPGrinders, or you can search YouTube RPGrinders. But everybody joins on the chat thing. We didn't hit 10,000 this week, so slightly disappointed at that, Eric. But we will hit that, and we will do a mini celebration of 10,000 downloads on Twitch. But anyways, anything else, Eric?
I had to pay a little bit more for Kirby Forgotten Land because for whatever reason Walmart was selling it at almost $60 than the $50 that they usually do for first party titles.
Yeah. All right. Stay safe this weekend. We want to see you back here next week. Until then, we are out. Take care, everybody. All right, Freak5, later, man. Have a great day. Thanks for joining on in. Really do appreciate you being here every week, Freak5.
I think everybody's playing Kirby.
I know.
or Ghostwire, because that came out today.
I know. Ghostwire came out. I kind of want that game too, man. All right. Thanks to all the archive listeners.